IAN is who I am. A freak show is who I can be. And if you're feeling
Oh,
so high in joy, give me a holla. But since we can't hear you ever, what can they do?
they can like and subscribe. Hit that 5-star frog splash review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks for joining us on this for another Let's Talk Wrestling. Now let's talk. On this episode, Andre the Savage, we're returning for another episode where we'll be discussing the booking that could have been better and fantasy booking for Bray Wyatt and Eddie Guerrero.
I'm excited for fantasy booking with Eddie Guerrero. And I'm pretty sure I know whoever has in mind. That would be our code main event. But we're going to open the show with Let's Talk. After that,
Yo,
the booking that could have been booked better. Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton.
question for you.
Let's get
What are
it.
your favorite matches of 2024 so far?
Ooh, damn, bro. That's a good ass question. 2024 so far. Man,
Yep.
well, bro, you can't forget about the Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah, can't forget about that
We
one.
can't forget about that one.
Oh
That one is like the top notch right there. Best storytelling. Um, I also got to go with Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania because I was
oh
there
yeah,
live, and the fact that I got to see, bro, like I've been a fan of Seth Rollins since Tyler Black, bro. The
yeah.
Age of
Wow,
Fallen with Jim, what's his name, Jimmy Jacob?
Jimmy Jacobs,
Yeah, no,
Zombie
Jimmy.
Princess.
Yes, like
Yes,
I've been
Jimmy
following,
Jacobs.
yeah, since PWG, Tyler Black, Ring of Honor, and from seeing him, um. a Monday Night Raw, being opening that briefcase, being splashed with the slime,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
seeing him in the main event against Cody Rhodes inside Hell in a Cell, to see him in the main event at WrestleMania Night One, teaming up with Cody Rhodes to face The Rock and Roman Reigns, and then to see him at WrestleMania Night Two against Drew McIntyre. Like, bro, that alone just has been fantastic.
Yeah, that was a good year.
Yeah, it's been a like just those two matches, those superstars alone. Drew
Yeah.
McIntyre has been banger matches,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. Who else? Cody Rhodes has been great having great matches. So it's not really like it's the superstars themselves that are just been having fantastic matches. Um,
Yeah, they've been like having more free reign, I guess.
yeah. Josh Alexander versus Will Ospreay, that one's a good one.
Mm.
When they had their match in Impact, the rematch. Moose versus Alex Shelley when we went to go to Vegas.
Oh yeah, that
That
was
was a hell
fire.
of a match. That one I liked. Josh Alexander versus Alex Hammerstorm. Mustafa Ali versus Chris Sabin. Moose,
Ooh.
once again versus Matt Hardy. Broken Matt Hardy at against all odds. I would like to, I got to
Oh,
give AEW some credit. MJF versus Will Ospreay. That Iron Man match. Well, was it? I don't think it was an Iron Man match. I think it was just like they just had a 1 hour time limit draw
yeah.
the
They
first
they
time they
they
face
went
each
for
other.
it.
So yeah,
You think
that.
it was too soon to have that match?
Oh no, well yeah, obviously they booked it wrong. Tony Khan booked that
Oh
match.
yeah,
They
that's
had
too
that
soon.
match too soon. That was like giving us John Cena, Randy Orton year one
Ooh,
with
no.
no bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're talking
It
about
was
like tights John Cena, right? And like
it, no, 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 no,
overdrive,
no, no.
overdrive Randy Orton. Is
No,
it
no, no, no,
overdrive?
no, not that soon. Not that soon. I would say like John Cena 2000, like maybe 2004 or 5.
Okay.
Because we didn't get Cena in order till '07, I believe, or '08. I know they
Mm.
had one match before their SummerSlam match.
So like Thugonomics John Cena. Oh five was yeah, because I think
Yeah,
he won it
yeah.
at Wrestle. You know
So
what?
imagine, yeah, so imagine if we would have gotten Orton that and Cena that early.
Yeah, no.
But we got Cena and Orton because they were the face of the company.
Yeah,
They were
they
they
were.
they were the future of the company. So if you're looking at it that way of Will Ospreay and MGF as the future of your company, yes, it was too soon for them.
Even
So
Ricochet and Osprey was way too soon. It was like 1 week build. It was like, oh, we're gonna face each other. Like now it's like Nobody wanted us. I was like, oh, okay. You,
Bro.
you were arguing like, oh, remember if Ricochet ever goes to AEW, it's gonna be a huge feud. Like 1 week later, they have a match.
Hey, you know what? For Ricochet's that type of person, um, who prefers he enjoys his craft, he enjoys his
Yeah,
work. He's not like a Will Ospreay where Will Ospreay does the same moves all the damn time.
yeah,
Ricochet, he is a high flyer. He does move that is necessary for the match.
yeah,
Will Ospreay does, I want to do this spot for this match. How did we get there?
yeah.
And it's like it's not necessary. It's just something that I want to do this today. How do we do this? Ricochet is
Mhm.
what's needed for this match. Oh, okay, I could do that. I'll do this, I'll do that. You know?
So he's more calculated. Like, okay, is this actually gonna be good, or is we just doing it to do it? Like,
Yeah,
just
basically. And if I'm
and
gonna do it just to do it, why not do it at this
well,
moment? And the
yeah,
do it well or do it in in the moment that matters and it's not gonna get pissed off by the boss.
yeah, or you get no sell. Like you no sold that move. Like, come on,
And that's
man.
the other thing. There's nobody like that in AEW. For why would you do that?
Yeah,
But
like
there's
you do this
nobody in AEW.
devastating power bomb through a table. They get back up like in a second. Like, what was the point of that like spot then?
Yeah,
Just like pin them at that point. Just
yeah, yeah, exactly. It was just
or
like you
hit
should
them
have
with a
just covered
punch
him.
in the face and out of the cover. Like might as well just go punch him in the
I
face
think there
instead.
was a moment, I don't know, there was a moment that John Moxley did a no sell for Private Party.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that clip or watched it, but there was a moment where John Moxley did a no sell for Private Party. And I gotta say, though, that's kind of messed up. I love John Moxley. I'm a fan of John Moxley, but I gotta say, like, it's one of those things where it's like, that's disrespectful to the business, bro. But at the same time, it's like, it's John Moxley and Private Party. The
yeah,
comparison of
yeah.
those two, it's like, you know what? If I was John Moxley, I probably would have. You know what? If I
I'll say
punched,
no to that booking. I'm like, nah, I'm not
yeah.
doing that.
Well,
Like,
that's
why
the
bother?
thing. That's the thing. If I would have punched John Moxley, I was like, bro, I wouldn't even blame you for not selling. It's just like, but at the same time, it's like, why am I being booked by a guy that can't even sell for me? I would be
No.
upset on that part because it's like, aren't you here to help me become a better wrestler? And I have not been. But at the same time, do these guys even care? Because Private Party have been the same freaking gimmick since the moment they signed with AEW. Everybody has.
Yeah.
I love how we went from favorite matches to where we're at now.
Yeah, let's go back. Let's go back.
Let's go back. I don't care, but it's
Not,
fine.
not, not your fair match for sure. That one.
No, no. But favorite matches so far. Oh, Jordan Grace versus Roxanne. Can't forget about that one.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I would say Gunther and Sami Zayn at
Oh, some
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. Yeah, that's a nice one.
I would say there's a couple. I mean, there's a lot of the ones you said that I agree with, but there's a couple where like when Belair and Bianca Belair beat Isla Dawn and what's her name? Alba Fire, but I don't remember what show that was at.
Interesting.
That was when the first
What
when they what was it?
was it on Raw or SmackDown?
No, it was the opposite. The Isla Dawn and Alba Fire won in Clash of the Castle.
Oh,
Wasn't the same?
a tag team
Yeah,
match.
tag team
Okay.
title
Oh, I
match.
thought it was a singles match.
Oh, when Ethan Ego won the
Oh
NXT
yeah.
title. What
When
what that was at what show
Heat
was that at?
Wave. Heat Wave.
Heat Wave when he
Yeah.
beat Hendry, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans with
Was
that
Hendry in that
pin.
one?
Yeah, he was. No. Sean Spears. Sean
John
Spears.
Spears, yes.
Sean Spears dragged Trick Williams out of the ring. I know he was
Yeah.
dragging him out. And then Ethan just landed on top of Javon 1, 2, 3. And everyone's like, what?
Yeah,
That was a good one.
that's a good
I
one.
like that
Ethan
one.
Pace. Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry. That was a good match.
Oh
Even though
yeah.
you already knew Ethan Page was not gonna go over, but the fact
Yeah.
that they gave him that spotlight and the fact they were still able to tear the house down, It's a good match. Like I said earlier, there was a lot of great matches that took place this year. But what the true challenge is, bro,
Yeah.
when we have to narrow it down to our top 10.
Oh yeah, that's the
That's the
well, the
truth,
year's not
because
over, so
the year's not over, but we're almost there. And
we
that's
got
where
like
the
what,
true
nine
challenge.
weeks, 10 weeks? No.
Well, but the day this video comes out and all that, will be like in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then but still, yeah. And then by the time we do the award show again, and we have to narrow it down and all that stuff. Woo! But I'm gonna be honest, I I think I'm good on favorite matches going
Mm.
forward. They're still bound for glory, but again, the day of recording, let's see how that works out. But I think I'm set for the rest of the year. I think I'm good of the matches I enjoyed. Again, I went to WrestleMania. You
Yep.
know, I
You
already I
did.
just I just named 4 matches already alone at WrestleMania is going to be in my top 10.
Wow.
So and
Oh,
that's
what about
and that's
AJ? What about AJ and
Cody.
Cody at in France? That crowd?
Well, that's
Was it
the
in France?
crowd. You're going
Yeah.
just on the crowd, not the match was great. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but it didn't. I didn't. Here's the thing. What everybody felt with that match, I felt that match already at
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Wow.
I already
And
felt 4 times. That's what
Jay
she
Uso
said.
beating Braun Breaker for the
Oh
IC
yes,
title.
yeah. That's a good one too. For me personally, I don't know. It's gonna be in my top 10. Top 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be up there. It is. It's actually up there. It's actually up there. There's another Raw match that I did enjoy that I can't remember which one it was. I'm trying to
Oh, that
remember. There's
that
a there's a few Raw matches I did enjoy.
the one I really
Oh,
loved.
Cody Rhodes versus Solo, the steel cage match. I
Oh
actually
yeah.
enjoyed that one way more than I did that the SummerSlam one they had. SummerSlam, I only enjoyed the ending because Roman, made his return.
Yeah. I think the Braun Strowman and the Bronson Reed one on Raw was pretty good.
Bro, oh, the last man standing match.
Yeah, that was fire. And then
Yeah.
Seth Rollins
Oh,
came in and curve stomped
yeah.
Bronson Reed, and then that was it. I was like, dude.
How do you feel about Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins having a feud?
I like it. I mean, Bronson Reed needs something. I feels like he's a big guy, but he hasn't really been pushed. He was a big guy before, but he just had a big splash. But now they're actually using him
That's
like
how
a
they treated
monster.
him. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. They
Now he's
just
actually
treated
like a
him. Yeah.
monster. Now
Yes.
he's just a big guy that did the splash off the top. Now, like recently, the last like what this year, he's actually been like, oh, I'm gonna do a splash off into a car.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, like now they're actually using him that way. It feels like
You
he
you
could have been
you
like that
said
in
you said the words
NXT.
right.
You
They're
know,
finally using him as a monster.
Yeah.
They were
That's why they
just using
released
him
him
as
too,
a bad
because
guy.
they're like, oh, we have no use for you. And then when they
Yeah.
brought him back, like, oh, hopefully they use him like in the way he should be, and they're doing it now. So let's see how that turns out.
They were clearly watching TNA at that time.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh
where he
yeah.
was at. That was he was at.
Was that this year or last year? No, that was last
That
year.
was 2 years ago.
Jonah versus
2 years ago.
yeah, 2 years
PCO.
ago. Dude, that was nuts. We were there.
Hell yeah. Drum
He
roll.
powerbound up into the floor. We're like,
Tombstone
oh
Power Driver too.
my god.
PCO versus Jonah, bro.
He's in his
Fire
50s or
match.
60s or something right now.
Still, hey, shout out. Hey, he's still champion. PCL still champion, still going on. Former Ring of Honor champion. But shout out to Jonah, man. And they're finally using him to be a monster, not as a big guy. Because that's what Braun Strowman was. He was just a big guy.
Yeah.
And they could say, "Oh, he's the monster among men's," but why is he in catering then?
Yeah. True.
So at this moment, he's just a big guy. But now they're both using them right, and Braun Strowman
Hmm.
got the win,
Yep.
which was a great call because now
It was.
Braun Strowman is he's still Bronson Reed. Sorry, he's still continuing to be a monster now because now his next target is Seth Rollins. And I'm glad. What I'm excited about is I'm glad that this is something similar to Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he had that feud with Booker T and Big Boss Man, but Stone Cold Steve Austin would have these
Wow.
television feuds with mid card people that wouldn't lead to a pay per view.
Oh wow.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was just to like have this person do something, because they were trying to save the bigger feud for the pay per view.
Yeah.
So and
So
I feel
the
like
grocery store thing with Booker T,
yeah,
that was
at
fire.
that whole time, Stone Cold Steve Austin was having a feud with Booker T, and people would forget that he was also having a feud with Boss Man as well. So, but people only remember the grocery with Booker T, and
Yeah.
that it was a whole rivalry, a whole feud. Do you even know how the rivalry was still about how Booker T attacked Stone Cold Steve Austin when the King of the Ring and all that? It still had to do with the evasion.
Wow.
Still, part of it, not fully. Stone Cold
Yeah.
Steve Austin was still holding a grudge.
Wow.
But the fact that it didn't lead it to a pay-per-view, not everything has to.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so I like that direction of like it seems more because the next pay-per-view is Survivor Series, which is not gonna happen till next month. So I like the fact that Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed is a raw televised feud.
Yeah.
Could they have a
That'd be kind of
match of
cool.
Survivor Series? Possibly, but we won't know until we'll get there.
Yeah.
There's a
There's
chance
that
they
in the
may
card
end.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, it may end before we get there. But no, yeah, so excited for also excited that we may get Gunther versus Sami Zayn.
Ooh,
Yeah, Sami Zayn's gonna get screwed at his hometown.
that'd be nuts.
So that's gonna be. Do you think he's gonna get screwed?
Yeah. It, is he gonna get another Montreal screw job or like
Montreal
water?
screw job. That's what I think
Because
that's
he's
gonna
from
happen.
Montreal, right? Yeah, he's from
Yeah.
Montreal. Yeah, there you go.
The
I
question
mean,
is, who's gonna screw him? Is it gonna be Kevin Owens, Jey Uso?
ooh, that'd be cool. Because then he could reignite the Intercontinental feud too.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Bronson Reed, or not Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker.
that'd be kind of like, damn.
Yeah, Braun Breaker, or Bronson Reed screwing Sami Zayn. Um, for the
Seth
World
Rollins.
Heavy
What if he goes heel?
Seth Rollins turning heel, and actually that would work. Oh, Uncle Howdy.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Uncle Howdy screwing Sami Zayn for the world title at Montreal. Damn,
That'd be
excited.
kind of
So excited for
fire.
this one. Oh yeah. It is time for the booking that could have been booked better. But I want to take this time to let everyone know that IAN is who I am. Like and subscribe on YouTube. You're listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, then hit that follow button. You're listening to New Entry Wrestling Podcast, so let's get back to this episode.
All right, it's time to talk about the booking that could have been booked better. WWE 2017 rivalry, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. The first encounter was supposed to take place at Backlash, but due to Randy Orton's injury, he was unable to compete. So they had to reschedule that match to the next premium live event, which was No Mercy.
Mhm.
Was the final match on the card. Bray Wyatt won using a Sister Abigail on Orton after distraction from the return of Luke Harper. Orton
R.I.P.
interfered on Wyatt's behalf on his match with Kane and joined the Wyatt family.
Mhm.
Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton were the sole survivors for Team SmackDown in the Survivor Series
Ugh,
elimination match.
laying the
From there,
smackdown.
yeah, from there they had won tag team titles. Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble. Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship from John Cena inside the Elimination Chamber. After months of being on part of the Wyatt family, the voices in Randy Orton's head have started talking again, and the Eater of Worlds had been broken when Orton destroyed the Wyatt family's family compound, including Sister Abigail's grave. And 2 weeks later, Randy Orton defeated Bray Wyatt for the WWE title at WrestleMania 33, ending Wyatt's reign at 49 days. Wrestling Observer Newsletters considers this as the worst match of 2017. What are your thoughts, and how would you rebook the whole entire feud, remix the match, or just the ending?
And we're gonna find that out with Andre the Savage. Let's get it. What up, Andre? And well, I was gonna call you Andre the Savage, but so far all you have is glasses. What happened to the hat? Oh, you
What
traded it
hat?
for some gold. Ah, damn, that's a nice title, bro.
Yeah, bro. Right. Gotta
Welcome
gotta
back
rock the IC title. Yeah,
for
we got a
Jey
new champ,
Uso.
right? We
Jey
got we got a,
Uso.
we have a new Uso Continental Champion.
Uso Continental Champion. I like that. That was clever right there.
Well, for sure, I would have gotten rid of the stupid projector worms that showed up in the middle of the ring that had no impact. That's
Facts.
something I would expect for the Boogeyman to do, not for Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
The worms are not relevant. Eater of Worlds is not the same thing as the Fireflies are not worms.
Mhm.
They're glowworms, yes, but not earthworms. Um, yeah, I get why they gave Randy the win. He had not had a title win at WrestleMania. That
Mhm.
was the main reason for all those years that he'd be in the main event. Besides, I mean, yes, he had that one with Triple H and John Cena, but he got it after Triple H did all the work.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a tainted victory, kind of like cheating to win. So they wanted him to have a clean face win, I guess, for once.
It was a weak ending though. Sorry, I didn't want to
It was.
interrupt, but this is your moment. Go ahead.
It was. And it's it's a match that could have had a follow up, could have had a rematch. They didn't really do anything with it just because the focus was to make sure that Jinder would be the next WWE champion, something that pissed me off afterwards, even though you
Yeah.
prefer not to hinder Jinder. Um, I would say just rebook the match. Everything else is kind of okay because you needed not necessarily a strong build, but the story was kind of good. Of the fact that Randy gained Bray Wyatt's trust
Mhm.
and turned on him by making his own family not trust him. There's a lot of movies that use that storyline and are pretty good for it. So for WWE to pull that kind of, window, that's not common, especially under the Vince Pro PG era. To have
Yep.
something that well written of a guy that needed to kind of go undercover, kind of, and gain the trust of a leader of a cult,
Yeah.
and then turn his own cult against him because he became the favorite son. He
Mm.
became he became his right wing guy. Um, so the overall story I think was good. I just think the match could have been booked better.
Yeah.
And aside from the projector, let them call the match themselves. I feel like too much of it was Vince being in the ear of the referee and probably the referee telling him what spots to use.
Mm.
Like you didn't get to see beyond the few moves that Randy has being at his best. Like the way you saw him with Gunter.
Yeah.
You've seen Randy even while injured put on a clinic. That's the kind of Randy Orton you want to see face Bray Wyatt. The same Bray Wyatt that took on Kane, that took on Daniel Bryan, that took on CM Punk. You want that kind of wrestling in this match. And sure, have the little spider crawl thing, have the Randy Orton pump up for the RKO, but
Mm.
have the match mean something and not be a transition match for another champion that's gonna fail.
Yeah.
Giving Bray Wyatt a month and a half of a title in that was too Mick Foley like. I'm sorry, but he's not a stuntman like Mick Foley.
Yeah.
This is a guy that has a lineage that should have that was bigger than the main event scene, just not treated as like it
Mm.
because
Agree.
because Vince didn't understand Bray Wyatt. So I would say just rebook the match, regardless if Randy wins or Bray wins. I get why they wanted to give Randy the momentum because maybe it'd be
But
better.
for your fantasy, for your booking and and this is Vince handed you this script, this match, saying you're in charge of this booking. How would
Well, then I would have to get rid of Jinder winning the title at least further down the road, just because they're focused on the India thing.
So let's say Backlash is it. Let's just say, hey, you have till Backlash because I think that was the last match between the two. So let's say Backlash is the last match. So whatever you book for WrestleMania has
Okay,
to
so
end the
at some
rivalry
point in
at
the match,
back.
at some point in the match, I say Luke Harper comes down the ring. That starts causing the distraction. That then leads to either the ref being distracted or bumped, where Sister Abigail is hit, and he's covering Randy.
Mm.
Referee's still distracted. Randy then hits an RKO on Bray Wyatt. Referee is still distracted. Both times that you hear the fans counting 1, 2, 3 for both of them. And this is where Bray Wyatt does the little sit up spider crawl, but his attention is on Luke Harper because he sees him having come down the ring and gotten involved.
Mm.
So Randy does that reverse backbreaker that he did to Freddie Prinze Jr. on Raw. I don't know if you remember the Monday Night Raw segment after Freddie Prinze Jr. tells him, "I'm not Jeremy Piven. I'm not this person. You're not going to tell me what to do." So as he's about to leave the ring, Randy puts him in the headlock and hits him with a reverse back.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah. Okay,
So
yes.
that's what he does to Bray as Bray is looking on to Luke Harper. And he realizes that the RKO is not going to be enough, so he hits him with the punt. Something that has not been brought back. It's been teased. That would be the perfect time to hit him with the punt.
I like that. That's a good one.
And it puts him out. So that's why you don't have the match with him and Bray the next paper. You have Luke Harper face Randy and say, "I tried to warn my brother, but you turned him against me. So now you're going to face me and my other brother." And he brings it back Eric Rowan.
Damn.
So instead of waiting the whole crap for however long we have to wait for them to be reunited, you reunite them that night. Friday night or the Raw after WrestleMania.
And it works out because it's payback.
Yep.
And Ever likes that. Ever likes when you use the pay-per-view theme as a meaning. It doesn't have to be the whole entire. It's just it has to be, like when it comes to movies where it's like, they said the title. They said the title of the movie. You have to give a meaning to it. It's like, why'd you call it this?
Randy has a title. And they say, "But you forgot we have another brother."
Ooh.
Braun Strowman versus Randy.
Damn.
Now, of course, you have a good match between him and Randy. The typical giant versus strong face. And Randy has to resort to the referee being distracted, hits Braun with the low blow, hits him with the RKO, and punts him and puts him on the shelf.
I like that.
Until the lights go out, and this is when you debut The Fiend.
Damn. But for your fantasy booking, sure. But I like that. For your fantasy booking, awesome. Not taking it away. But I have a serious question. Did Bray Wyatt even had the Fiend in mind at that time?
No, because he was getting paired at that time after he started getting paired with Matt Hardy.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying, did he even had the vision of the Fiend yet? Because if so, then yes. I like that concept. That is a great idea.
Because if you do it then you avoid having the whole year of. You had the one match with Bray and Matt, and then they just became buddies afterwards.
Yeah, that's what ruined
everything. It was just so that they can be tag team champions, and nothing really came up from it.
No.
Because if you remember afterwards, before the Fiend actually debuted, Bray Wyatt started getting pissed off with men who hide behind a mask or color. And he started taking out he started taking out Goldust. He started taking out Finn. He started taking out all these guys before he eventually debuted the Fiend on Mick Foley.
Damn. Yeah, because remember, I believe the Fiend was supposed to have a feud with Cody Rhodes last year, if I'm not mistaken. It was supposed to be a quick feud or something like that. Just to lead up to Survivor Series, just for Cody to do, because remember, he wasn't never supposed to team up with Jay. But I like that. You got anything else to add to your rebooking for that match?
Yeah, the Fiend gets his win back.
The Fiend. So the
Fiend
whole
gets
title.
Again, yeah. Regardless of the title at that point, the Fiend gets the win that he should have gotten at WrestleMania 21. Not a fucking clean loss to Randy.
Wait, 21, the year.
Or sorry, yeah 2021, yeah. Well, remember, because Vince stopped counting, because anytime you added a number to WrestleMania, it means he got older.
So
that's why WrestleMania 31 is called WrestleMania Press Play.
Press Play. I didn't even knew that. That's funny. So for me, honestly, I love the build-up, love the feud leading up to the match. Great. The match itself, it was like what you said, Andre. It wasn't Randy Orton. It wasn't Bray Wyatt. It was, who's calling this? Vince, obviously. If I was able to rebook this whole entire match, just the match itself, actually the feud. The only thing I would change is when Randy Orton destroyed the compound, he did it too early. Or if we're gonna go based on the time that he did it, Bray Wyatt should have never returned. He should have just stayed home or whatever, been written off. And he should have continued the feud with Randy Orton, should have continued his feud with Luke Harper. Leading up to WrestleMania, that following SmackDown, that's when Bray Wyatt shows up and attacks Randy Orton. At least just like attacks him, put him through a table, hit him with chair, because at least that type of match that we would have gotten would have made sense. Orton is hurt. Bray Wyatt's taking his sweet time with him. And like you said, Bray Wyatt is not a Mick Foley. He's not a risk taker. He's a storyteller. But fortunately, Bray Wyatt, what he should have been a manager, and Luke Harper should have been the guy in the ring. And then again, I feel like the RKO was weak. I don't understand why we couldn't get a Sister Abigail reverse into RKO. Do not know why we couldn't just get it that. The other thing I would have added, John Cena into the mix. Because at least that way, Randy Orton could have done all the work and Bray Wyatt could have stole the win over him. Or Randy Orton could have helped Bray Wyatt defeat John Cena to get his win back. And in that payback, we could have gotten a Hell in a Cell match between the two. Or that's when Randy Orton destroys the compound after WrestleMania, saying, "You owe me a title match." "No, I don't. I'm not going to give you one because we're family." And then Randy Orton says, that's when, destroys the compound to lead to continue their feud to payback. Because then again, payback could have been a Hell in a Cell match instead of that House of Thayer, whatever it was, apparently going back to the compound or whatever it was to old. It was just a horrible match. And then the main event was Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. After Roman Reigns just defeated The Undertaker. You know what I mean? It was bad. I just didn't understand.
How is it that the Hardys' ridiculous movie match was better than that Randy Orton House of Horrors match with Bray?
You want to let's talk about
And they used those old smoke flares on each other in that stupid match.
Could we talk about how they got there? Limousines. They got there in limousines and they got back in limousines. That's crazy, bro. That whole entire feud was just trash. Could have been booked better, and that's why we're doing fantasy booking to discuss how we could have booked better. It's simple as that. Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Hell in a Cell payback. But no, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns. And then The Undertaker was The Undertaker at that time. He should never came back as the dead man. So, but yeah, no, but that was it for my fantasy booking. It's just the match could have been the build. If Vince wanted that type of match, it could have Randy Orton could have been hurt leading up to this match then. The match could have just been longer for my part, and we should like you said, the match was not Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. It could have been. They just, bro, you I don't know who. It seemed to me was Vince was like, Bray, it's either you get the story or you get the match. You can't have both. And I feel like that's what we got. I feel like, and because the story is great. It started from Backlash, September, leading up to WrestleMania, and it was a great, fantastic story. Unfortunately, the match itself was horrible, and the payback one does not help. And it was worst match of 2017. Do you guys agree on that?
I don't know about the
Yeah.
worst. The worst for me was the Andre Memorial Battle Royal.
With Mojo Riley?
With
That was
what?
the year that took place.
Yep.
Woo. Well, Ever, you got no more any thoughts before we move on to the next to the next? I kind of started there.
No, actually, you know what? You know what was the worst match actually of 2017?
Which one?
Well, the worst WrestleMania match that year, yeah, that was I would say the Memorial Battle Royal. But for 2017, the worst match was every single gender match. It was the same copied and paste match.
You know what? All right. Yeah.
It's
You're
just a
not
different
wrong.
person. It's the same match.
It is.
Back and forth for a few minutes.
Big boot clothesline punches.
The twins come in and get attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And the same finisher.
Same finisher. Different landing.
Mhm.
Yeah. I feel like it would have worked out if he actually did had a feud with John Cena.
If he's gonna be a heel, he could have done a chair shot finisher. He could have done a finisher to the chair. He could have put somebody through a table with that that finisher. Something you could actually hoist someone into a table.
Yep. And the crazy thing, he never did. He never put Randy Orton through a table.
Even the announcer's table, he could have put through somebody.
Yeah,
with that finisher.
he could have.
Shinsuke was the easiest one for him to put through the table.
Yeah, he had the size. He just didn't know how to be a big guy.
A collage, right? That's what it's called.
Collage.
A collage.
Collage.
Collage. All right. Well, I want to take this time to let everybody know that IAN is who I am. Like and subscribe. And if you're listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, hit that follow button. You're listening to New Entry Wrestling Podcast. But Andre, welcome back. How you been, bro? How's the weight loss journey?
That's gonna be still a journey for a while. It's gonna be a while for that, but
I've been
just gonna
meaning to
continue with
ask
that
you. I've been meaning to ask you about that, but when did you start your diet journey? When did you start it?
Started in the summer.
Nice.
What the fasting pretty much did is help me speed up my metabolism, because before I would get full pretty quick whenever I'd eat food. Now it's like I'm able to manage it better.
Okay.
And where I did lose some weight, some of this clothes started feeling a little bit more loose, started
Mm-hmm.
feeling less tight. Um, it just helped me with also not always feeling, not feeling sluggish all the time, just like feeling overly exhausted. The other
Mm.
thing that I'm also ignoring is not taking the time to rest after I get out of home from work. I'm up at 3, 4 sometimes in the morning. If I don't start that early shift, that's just me going to the gym, getting ready, and then going straight to work and then coming home. And then I'm just trying to stay awake as much as I possibly can, which then makes me even more exhausted. So I'm like, I'm gonna start getting some rest when I get home. And then especially with it being wintertime, pretty soon I'd rather start going to the gym at night instead of waking up super early where it's freaking cold.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially with winter coming up, it's gonna suck.
Oh yeah.
and if I do end up having to ever adjust to a second shift with any job offers, I actually prefer that with going to the gym right afterwards versus getting up so early and going to the gym. It just feels a lot easier because you've already done whatever work you're doing out the day,
Mhm.
and then going to the gym that late when no one's there. It's mostly most of the chill people that are trying to get in and get out versus having all the Instagram models, guys and girls, at the gym,
True.
or like the people that are there with the gym trainers throughout the day. That they're hogging up all the machines, and then you have to keep rotating your own schedule because you got to accommodate them. You're not going to be the person that's going to go up to them and ask them, "Oh, when are you going to be done with your set?" Because you don't know what kind of response you're going to get. You're either going to get the roided
Right.
response, the you're going to be famous on YouTube now response.
Then you're gonna get kicked
Look
out
at that speed
response.
clicks now. So yeah, I just rather just avoid confrontation. Say, all right, screw it. Now I have to readjust my schedule. So at least this way, I can create my own schedule that I don't have to have thrown off at night. It's a little easier to do that with in the mornings or right after work. It's a lot more challenging. Not in a good way where it's okay. Let's see what I can do instead. Like no, I personally ate or fasted for this reason for that day because
Right.
I had a goal for that day. Like if
Mm.
I'm fasting, I know that I'm going to be doing mostly cardio because even though I can take on carbs for energy, a lot of the carbs that are available to me are not the best ones to be taking. So it's like all I'm going to do is if I'm going to eat that and then do cardio, I'm just burning that off, and that
Yeah.
carbs are a lot higher than the ones I'm supposed to use for energy. Like I'd rather have the carbs from potatoes and
Look at
avocado.
you.
I'd rather have the carbs
You guys
from
making me
potatoes and
hungry, bro.
avocado or egg than the starchy ass the super yeasted bread.
Mm.
Something that's something the bad grains that are going to make it worse for me. Um,
Hmm.
so just making those kind of decisions that are going to be to my benefit, so that I'm not feeling sluggish or unmotivated, especially if it's a long shift. That motivation tends to go away. But at least if it's at night, I'm just okay. I'm gonna go straight to the gym before I go home.
Mm.
Versus in the
Because
middle,
once you're home,
versus
you're like, oh, I just want to lay down. But then when you're out, you're out.
yeah, and then that laziness kind of takes over if I don't force it on myself, and then that laziness kind of takes over. Then it's like okay, well now I just lost whatever momentum I had.
Yeah. But then that's why it's good to have that journey when you start a journey. The one thing I hate people are like, oh, I got to lose weight in 6 months. And it's like, relax.
Mhm.
Why? You
Look at
know?
um look at the guy that used to play Frankie Stechino on Boy Meets World. It took him about 3 to 4 years. Well, he lost that weight when he was on the show My Name Is Earl, but then he
Mm,
lost even more, and he lost a lot of weight before that show. But then he lost even more weight after that show ended, and now look how ripped and jacked he is. And he's what, maybe 7, 8 years older than all of us.
damn. Yeah, well, I don't know how I got to this point in my diet, but like hearing your story is crazy. And don't get me, I'm proud because it's like I started the same way as you did,
Mm.
like just trying to figure it out. Except I didn't do the gym. I did work out, but that was only because I was trying to build strength on my leg, you know, but it wasn't to lose weight. But I was trying to find ways, and I finally found like figured out, you're the story. But now I'm at the point in my diet where it's like I got to switch it up because with winter around the corner and all that stuff,
Easy,
and
easy. And Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, so I'm
It's the
like,
best time to getting all that weight back. Yeah.
so the way how when I'm baby steps, but I assume by the time this video is out, I feel like I should get there already. Um, I'm just doing taste now, and my diet is just taste. So if I'm craving a taste of something, that's what I'm gonna go after for. But I'm still trying to maintain my calories. So far, I've been doing steps like that. Um, it's been great so far. The only problem is I've been craving a lot of Mexican food, and the problem when it comes to that is, Mexican restaurants, they don't care about that stuff. You ask how many calories is that? You get insulted, and I start crying. So I don't want that, So I have to go to Mexican stores, and I gotta get the food myself. I have to read the ingredients and see what I can eat. And you'll be surprised. My parents would be like, because I don't know how to make it. So my dad has to cook the food for me. And then he'll be like, "You're gonna eat all
Wait,
this?" And it's like, yeah, because I could.
whoa. You don't make frijoles, bro?
No,
Frijoles? Just put them in the
I
pot.
Well, like
oh
think of it
no,
this
no.
way.
Here's the thing: can I make frijoles? Yeah, it's the taste. The
Okay.
taste. I can't do that.
Like
Yeah,
think about it this way, in the sense of home fried frijoles, even though they're fried,
yeah.
it's better to eat those than going to. And these are the best. If your boy knows what I'm talking about when it comes to the best frijoles in Chicago, um, Nuevo Leon.
I don't
Ooh,
know
There's nowhere
anything
else.
about Chicago.
that's in the city, though. That's in the
No,
city.
but that was known as the best frijoles in Chicago.
Mm,
The original one in Pilsen, the other one's still in Little Village, but there's something they put in those refried beans. I think it's like bacon oil or something, but there's something in there that it's the best freaking beans you'll ever have, dude. Just
damn.
a little bit of that and tortillas will get you for the day.
Ooh,
But
Woo.
it's like what
damn.
you said. You don't think you think about it. They don't.
Mm,
So if you're trying to make decisions, like maybe that should be like a cheat kind of thing for that day. But if you're
right.
trying to like be consistent for like maybe even though it's kind of comfort food, wintertime is probably not the best time. Or if you're gonna do it sometime in January and February. If you do it right now, when it's pretty much like bad carb season,
Yeah.
it
Oh
starts in, it
man.
starts in October, and how you don't realize is like what are the events that you tend to do or outings, especially you who has a niece like myself. When you try to do family things, a lot of that comes with eating. And you don't
Mm,
think about when you're thin, you don't really care about it. But when you're being mentally focused on cautious about your eating habits, you start to think about it in the sense of, man, maybe while they're eating that, I should eat an apple or something.
I don't think that way.
So,
Oh, who thinks that way? Taking an
Isn't it your birthday
apple.
this month?
Mine,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, you're gonna celebrate this month for sure then.
Steaks, cheesecake. It's Hachi Day as well. It's Halloween, my sister's birthday. Bound for Glory. You
well, don't
know,
forget, there's also going to be like this is the time where everybody does apple picking / pumpkin picking, and what do they always
yeah.
have there? The pies, the donuts,
Ooh.
Ooh, ooh,
The
Costco. Hey, you
cider,
been at
the
Costco's
cider.
pies?
No, you gotta go
Costco.
to an apple orchard. You gotta go to the actual
Apple.
orchard man, for
Let's go,
pies,
Ever.
man.
You and me, Alpha Ultra. We gotta do
Yeah,
something
dude.
like that. We'll hold hands.
A cider, get a hot cider, a apple donut,
Ooh,
apple
apple donut
donut.
sounds
Oh
good.
man,
I
well,
want to
spiked
app.
yes.
cider.
I want an apple pie with ice cream, vanilla bean on top.
Ooh, a
Boom,
la
whipped
mode.
cream. Hell yeah.
Dude, we're talking about
Hey,
food right
hey, Andre, you 420 guy?
No, I'm not.
Damn, damn. That's all right. More food
Just
for
for
me.
Taker, man. I agree when Taker when he says the same thing. It's like, it's just not for me.
It's just not for me. That's fine. That's probably nothing wrong. I'm a RVD fan. Trust me, I got disappointed whatever is in the 420 guy. I was like, you're an RVD fan. Your catchphrase is you tell everybody to hit a 5-star frog splash
now.
and you to do 420.
Yep.
So, but all right, well, hey man, I'm glad to know that you're still in the journey. Like you said, at least you have that mindset. It's a long progress. You're in no rush. Trust me.
Marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, there you go. I wanted to mention when you mentioned about the carbs, about the holidays, that is true because I do remember last year I broke my diet. I broke my diet. I gained about 10 pounds, ate a lot of carbs because I wanted to see if I really wanted to challenge myself to see if I could truly lose the weight with my way. What I learned, everything I learned from those 3 years, put in my plan and do it in my way, see if I could do it. I did it. It took me a little bit, it took me a year to do it, but it took me a year because again, I'm like still trying to figure things out. And again, right now it's more about taste. So I kind of took a little break of it because the winter is here. Um, but the
So,
results are there.
something I can add to that, and maybe you might consider doing. This is what I'm gonna consider doing for myself, because I know that time is easy to gain weight. It's not just the food from that time; it's all the leftovers you end up being left with.
It's the leftovers.
Whether it's
Yes.
your home leftovers or something your relatives gave you to take home, and you realize you have that food there available, so when you get hungry, you don't go out and buy, right? But you don't realize all that stuff is the heavy stuff that you pack on later. So for me, in my case, one of the things I'm going to be doing, and it's also because I'm going to see if I can start going back and doing 5Ks next year. I used to do them about 10 years ago. I want to see if I can get back into that little by little, get back into doing those so that it gives me more reasons to like set goals for running like I used to.
Oh,
Um,
that's a good idea. Ever's brother does that.
Leading up to those holiday days,
Yep.
I'm going to be doing is fasting throughout those specific weeks
Mm.
and the days afterwards. Because the first thing I'm going to think about, okay, I'm home. What do I do? I'm just going to be bored as hell. And the first thing I'm going to be wanting to do is eat. So,
Facts.
to avoid just eating right away, hey, let me know what, let me go see if it's not too cold, go for a walk outside. Like how you were talking about doing long distance walks. Okay, let me go see if I can go walking for a while. You know what? Let me go drive somewhere that it's gonna let me walk throughout the day so I can distract myself from the food that I have in the fridge or have around me that I know I'm gonna want to just dig into right away. And at first it'll be
I'll
fine,
just eat
but
it.
then it'll be if I keep staying bored and don't keep myself focused, I'm just gonna want to focus on doing that. And then everything I've done to that point is gonna kind of derail because I'll keep packing it on.
It's hey, get away. What's it
Discipline
called?
is
A food scale. Get a food scale. Do you know how to use one of
Mm.
those? A food scales?
yeah, my sister had one for
Say yeah, use those for leftovers. That's what I used to do. Oh my gosh, I used to ignore that. I used to what's it? Ignore? No, not ignore.
Indulge.
No, why am I throwing a blank? Annoyed. There you go. Used to annoy my family when I used to pull out my food scale. But like, hold on, I gotta measure my menu though before gotta make sure I get the right
oh,
macros.
so that means that you had to do it in kilos, right? Because if you did it in pounds in front of them, they'd be like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?"
No, I did it.
Ounces.
Kayla, ounces. No, yeah, ounces. Yeah, ounces. There's a reason this is a wrestling podcast, so let's go ahead and talk about some wrestling because now it's time with questions with Ever. What up, Ever? What you got for us today?
Yeah, I have some questions. The first one is, who is your Mount Rushmore in WWE when it comes to high flyers?
Ooh.
There's four. So there's four in the Mount Rushmore. Which ones are your four?
Thank you,
Andre, you
Ever.
go
Thank you.
first.
I appreciate that because I honestly I thought there was five.
There- well, I'm a history major. There's supposed to be five, but they didn't do it. So
Ooh, the more you know.
So who would have been the fifth one?
it would have been
Kennedy.
maybe I think Kennedy, or it would have been like Reagan.
Reagan.
But
Ooh.
Kennedy or Reagan. Yeah, would have made the most sense.
I don't know who those guys are,
Shame
but
on me.
but
shame on me. Well, that explains a lot. I'm almost have a
Now,
six
see,
pack.
you're gonna say, "Well," you're supposed to say, "Whoa, whoa,
Well,
whoa."
now when I say, well, it's the big show.
Big slow.
The big show. All right, high flyers. Who I got? I got RVD. Obviously, you said high flyers, right?
high flyers, yeah.
High
RVD.
flyers or
Both. Oh, then
No, like
me. Me. I could. Formerly
I,
known as El
I think
Skeletor.
Jose has you beat, bro.
Jose. Jose ain't no 420 guy. I asked him.
You want to ask him?
I asked him. He said no.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, unless it's on the podcast, so. But
All
I got
right.
Ricochet, Jeff Hardy. Obviously, for the people who started watching AJ Styles in 2016 or the Bullet Club days, they would not consider AJ Styles. But I've been watching AJ Styles since '02, so AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, obviously once
Very,
again,
that's I would say was more of a high flyer.
Christopher Daniels, the best moonsault ever. Oh my gosh. I think Tiffany does it too, right?
Yeah.
Stratton.
Yeah, the best moonsault ever. But I think it's been a while.
So you think it's better than Starship Pain?
I like the Starship Pain, but as a the best moonsault ever from Christopher Daniels is like the best finish ever. It's like I feel like that's a big moment finisher for him.
What
When
about the
he,
Vader Salt?
Ooh.
that's more of a, like, for example, if a wrestler, I would say that's a everyday finish. And then if that person could go from the best moonsault ever, like in a pay-per-view or just like a rare occasions kind of thing.
It's funny, his best Vader salts were always either in New Japan or in WCW because
Mm.
it looked a lot more agile for a guy his size.
Yeah,
He
that's
never,
why
he never,
yeah.
they never let him pull it off in the WWE because
Hmm.
you're a big guy. You're not supposed to fly around like that.
That's the reason why Brian Cage didn't get signed for WWE. So
Well, see, it's probably because at that time Taker was still there, so he would have done the same thing. Like, you're a giant. You're not supposed to fly around. You're supposed to be a monster.
even though Taker used to go through dive over the top rope in
Or
rare
that
occasions,
that somersault jump he would do.
somersault jump.
Yeah, whenever he does this, the one in the ring when he does Irish whips.
Oh, the clothesline.
Yep.
Oh, the jumping clothesline. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I like that. Where you guys at? Who you guys have for your high flyers?
Snuka.
Hmm.
No.
Come on, that Madison Square Garden splash from the top of the cage is the reason why.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels,
That's a good
Hmm.
Jeff Hardy,
Jeff.
Ricochet. I notice how they're each from different timelines. They're the
Oh,
representatives of their timelines. Golden Age, New Age, Attitude, Modern.
okay. I like that. I don't even think mine's like that. Because RVD is '02, or RVD and Jeff Hardy are together with Jeff Hardy is,
Attitude slash
yeah,
aggression.
yeah, with RVD. And then AJ Styles is TNA. That was more of a,
Ruthless aggression era.
yeah, era. And then Ricochet, so that's more modern. But still, I feel like Ricochet, out of everybody who, everybody's a high flyer these days. It's crazy to think that the only person that we can name is Ricochet. I mean, don't get me wrong. Is there a lot of wrestlers? Sure. But I wouldn't consider them as my Mount Rushmore for high flyers. And Ricochet is one of them I would consider.
The
So,
reason I put Ricochet from all the modern guys is because that's a majority of his utility. It's like how you said, um, that that finisher for Vader, that's just his finisher. It's not his. It's not a majority of his move set.
yeah.
Whereas guys like Will Ospreay and all them, yes, they're high. They have diving attacks, but he's also got different move sets. So it's not his main source of. It's just for spots.
Mhm.
Whereas Ricochet, that's his entire utility.
He does a lot of high flying, but he does what needs to be done in the match. What's
Yeah.
necessary for this match? Will Osprey does the same high flying moves everywhere he goes. The same 20 minutes that you got last week, you're gonna get it again this
But
week.
see, I think more Will Ospreay is more like also a spotty guy. Like
Yes.
he's doing it more for those screen times, not for a
Mm,
majority of the duration of the match.
mm.
He
So
has other things added to his utility and his move set. like grounding and submission and wrestling holds. Whereas Ricochet is like, I'm only doing that when I need to. If I have to adjust to a wrestler. But for the most part, I'm jumping on him even while I'm standing.
But the thing with Will Ospreay, he keeps doing the same moves. He keeps going after the same moves. It's like, bro, you just did that move 5 minutes ago. What makes you think this is gonna be it?
He's trying to get 12 stars.
Yeah.
Oh, what's your high flyers, ever?
Hayabusa.
How is that?
Hayabusa, he's a legend out of FMW. He did the Phoenix Splash. He's a super Rey Mysterio Jr., Psychosis, the original one, which is Nico and Milionario. And
a lot of luchadors here.
Oh yeah. And Blitzkrieg. I don't remember him. But he had a short career, but Blitzkrieg was fire. From WCW.
Never heard of
He had
him.
like the red and black and white like mask thing. He was a white guy, but he could like pull lucha libre moves.
Damn. We gotta do some research on that one later. But that's some interesting lists on high flyers. So what other questions you got, Ever?
Okay, another one is from 2014 to 2024. Which WWE title match would you rechange the outcome? I know we did one right now, but that could be part of it. But which one from 2014 to 2024 would you change, title match wise?
Ooh, 20. That's a tough one.
It's just the outcome or the whole match altogether, and who
the outcome, like the winner.
Unless you have a match. Do you have a match?
I see that Jinder one. Jinder beating
the
Orton.
Jinder. Oh yeah,
yeah.
We just discussed that.
I know
one.
that's the only one.
Yeah,
like,
the Jinder
that's what
one.
I'm so upset about though. That's the only one.
That the Ginger one. That's for sure. Yeah, I think we just needed something to get the ball rolling. So
Yeah.
Ginger one is the obvious choice. That one. Here's the thing. I didn't have a problem with Jinder Mahal winning. It was how he won the title. It was just like that was it. It was a clean win.
It's the same thing as when they put the title on Alberto Del Rio. They just did it as a trend. But
and the reasons
it
too,
worked
like
with
they just
Alberto
did
Del
it
Rio because people knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
He was already famous.
Alberto Del Rio's one.
He was already a famous one in Mexico, so that was gonna be boosted no matter what because he was already famous for AAA and because of his uncle and his family. His family has
a legacy.
He has a legacy, so he's known. It's like as if you were to put any of the Mexican wrestlers right now from the WWE, if you were to do that with the Mexico tours, you're bound to get a lot of fans because they were already established outside of the WWE.
Yeah. I think with Alberto though, what they messed up was
it was just the timing, man.
It was the timing.
It wasn't for CM Punk.
The debut. The debut. When he first debuted, he should never been heel. Should have been a face.
If it wasn't because the whole
and the CM Punk
and feeling bad for Christian, he should have won at Backlash. They only gave it to him because they needed to get a sympathy win for Christian. I'm sorry that he had to win that.
Oh my gosh, dude! Alberto versus Christian. Christian should have won that one at the SummerSlam. What year was that? 14 or 15? No, that was 13, I think, right? I think that was 13. That must have been 13. Yeah, because the Alberto versus Christian for the World Heavyweight title. That's when Christian speared Alberto and he sold the arm and he put the armbar on him. That's the one that Christian should have won the title. And I think after that, I think Alberto had a feud with RVD.
Yep. And then
so we could have gotten Christian and RVD. Their feud could have restarted from years ago from the IC title, bro. You just oh my gosh. Hell no. RVD should have won that title. First of all, that battleground, that should have been the main event. Alberto Del Rio and RVD. It was a hardcore match. It should have closed out the show, and RVD should have won the World Heavyweight title. Instead, they gave us Bryan Danielson and Randy Orton in a no contest because the Big Show showed up and knocked out everybody. That's crazy, man.
You know what's another one? Goldberg beating Bray Wyatt.
There you
The
go.
Fiend.
Oh,
Oh, wait,
that's
you said WWE
Goldberg.
title. You didn't say Universal title. You said WWE title.
oh, you know,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Snap. That's another one right there. Damn, what was another one that was
Dolph versus Dean.
Ooh.
oh, bro.
That should have been a better match than it was.
It
Considering
was.
considering the fact
That build up
the
was great.
who was in the match. Dolph couldn't save Dean to save his life,
Dean was
and
boring.
he carried the match.
Yeah. And then the ending of that match, it was one of those awkward finish, but it looked pretty cool. I think it was because of I think it took a little too long of like, oh wait, was this supposed to
Did they
happen?
reveal the belt before or after the match? Because I think that's what also killed the crowd.
Oh, I think you're getting confused with the Universal title.
No, but wasn't it the same year? Wasn't that the same pay per view?
Yeah.
Wasn't it at SummerSlam?
Oh, it was before. So yeah, so that match took place before the Universal title.
And it didn't
So
help that the Universal title was revealed the way it was, and then that just shat on that match too. No matter how good it was.
yeah. And then the Randy Orton Brock Lesnar match was good, but then the ending was okay. All
I
right.
mean, the purpose was to make him look like a badass, so he can go back to UFC. And unfortunately, afterwards, the drug test came back, so that really screwed up all the plans they had.
Yeah.
What about Kofi losing to Brock on SmackDown? Was it SmackDown? Yeah,
Yeah, it
SmackDown.
was. Yeah, it was the timing for that one. There was no need for him to drop it on SmackDown. I don't really care about how quickly. Yes, I feel like Kofi should have had a fighting chance against Brock, but with Hell in a Cell around the corner and the fact that they needed a better main event than Bray Wyatt and The Fiend, I just don't understand why couldn't Vince come back and be like, hey, you know what, Kofi, I'm really getting tired of you. Hell in a Cell, you're gonna face Brock Lesnar. If Vince McMahon could book Shane McMahon to go against The Undertaker at WrestleMania in a Hell in a Cell match, why could and Vince or whoever booked Kofi to face Brock Lesnar, you could have just done it on SmackDown. And then, I mean, on Hell in a Cell, whatever. And then, and of all people, you signed, I forgot his name, the UFC guy.
Cain
The
Velasquez.
Him, yeah. How that worked out. And then he gets a WWE title match.
He
He's
gets
released
paid
like a month later, right?
he gets paid millions of dollars to pretend to lose to Brock.
To pretend to lose to Brock. That's
Smoke
the
Brock too.
wildest thing that I never thought. That's crazy to hear. This guy got paid, a UFC fighter, got paid millions of dollars to fake, to pretend to lose to Brock Lesnar. I never thought I'd hear those
The guy
words.
who actually beat Brock Lesnar.
Damn. I forgot about that. I watched that fight. I even watched Brock Lesnar face Frank Mir too.
Wow.
So, god damn. Any more other forgotten changes we would make, or you got other questions ever?
I got other questions. Besides Bray Wyatt and Eddie Guerrero, what are your favorite matches from wrestlers that have passed away?
Ooh, damn. Well, for me, El Hijo del Perro Aguayo.
Oh yeah.
Um, I have two. There's one that he faced against Dr. Wagner in a dog collar match for the
Oh.
AAA Latin American Championship, and him against El Macias, Triple Mania. I think 21 or 22 for the world title. Should have been the world. Should have been the freaking main event. The whole story was built between these two, and it was the cold main event because of Dr. Wagner was taking a mask of another guy, El Mascara 2000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because he needed a he wanted a payday, so he's like, "Oh, I'll give up my mask." But whatever, he took Alejo de Perro Aguayo's moment. I mean, he lost, but still, it was like that was his moment. You're like, it's bad enough that he didn't outwin the title. He didn't close out the show. He built the whole this. I started watching Triple A again because of this guy. You got to be kidding me. But anyways, that's one of my favorite matches. El Hijo de Perro a while. Um, I don't know. What about you guys?
I don't know if you ever watch like Japanese wrestling, like
No, that's all you ever.
so it'll be Mr. Taro. I can't say his name. Mr. Taro Misawa versus Kawada. They would face in All Japan Pro Wrestling for like the Triple Crown, like all the time,
Okay.
just being a snot of each other. I don't know if have you heard of the Burning Hammer?
The
move?
the move, yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was Kawada's move.
Oh,
He would
like she created it?
Oh, he used it, but there's other people that use it. But he would hit Masao with the Burning Hammer. Every match would be like breaking down the Tokyo. It was not Tokyo Dome because it was Tokyo Dome is New Japan, but every time they would face each other, they would go crazy. And Masawa actually died in the ring
Oh,
during
snap.
a match. Not during that match, but he died in a tag team match like 90. I forgot what year. It was like when he was in pro wrestling. He created Pro Wrestling Noah.
Oh,
Like
dude, that's crazy. El Hijo de Perro Aguayo created Perro del Mal, and he passed away in a tag team match in the ring.
Yeah. So
That's crazy that you
he
just
got
picked
hit
that
with a
one.
suplex or a power bomb, and he never woke up from then. So
Damn.
so that's the one he passed away. But those matches with Kawada and him, Kawada and Masawa was like, you should watch it, like for real. It's on YouTube. I
Yeah,
watched it
send
like
those
4
links.
times.
And we'll try to find those links and post it on the bio. What about you, Andre?
Been thinking, I can't really think of any right now.
You ain't got nothing for Bray Wyatt or Eddie Guerrero?
No,
Besides
them.
them,
Oh, besides them. Oh,
Scott Hall,
Scott Hall,
Vicious, what else? A lot of people. Bruno Sammartino.
Dusty,
Bader, Dusty
Scott
Rhodes.
Hall, Razor Ramon,
No, see, for
Owen.
Dusty, for me, it was more the segments that were better than the match.
What's your favorite
Macho
one from
Man.
him?
When he tells Stephanie to keep her mouth shut and go say that.
Oh, I was like, nah. I heard that was not Kate. That was real. I was like, he
That
was
was
really
real
mad.
heat.
He was like, oh.
Hey,
That
it
one,
worked.
and then back when 2009 during the Legacy thing, Dusty
Interesting.
hit who did he hit with his boot? He hit someone with his boot on Raw, and it was when Randy was trying to intimidate the legendary fathers to listen to him. Teddy DiBiase got in his face, told him he wouldn't listen to him, and then Cody said, "Don't worry, I got my dad." Cody's dad, Dusty, slaps him for being in Legacy, but then later turns on the fans by helping Legacy. I think it was Triple H or Shawn that he hit with the took off his boot and he smacked him in the back of the head.
Wow.
After the match.
I do remember Dusty had a moment with DX with the Legacy, but that part I don't really remember. The only time I really remember Dusty getting his hands on is when 2007 when he had that feud with Randy Orton. That's the last time I actually had like have a visual memory of Dusty getting his hands on somebody.
Yeah, so for me, it's always been more like Dusty's segments. They were always, for me, more powerful than the matches.
But
And
like
that's just because the way Vince booked him like shit. Like his
Yeah.
best matches were always behind him in WCW or
Yeah.
NWA.
Yeah.
For those people, you guys got to go check out Dusty. He's charismatic, funny. You know, his matches are always fun to watch. But if you really want like a wrestling match, woo, his matches with Ric Flair. You know.
All right, well, okay. The best ones I would always have to say are the tainted ones of Voldemort.
Ooh. What is that?
Well, he who shall not be named.
Okay.
World's greatest dad.
I'm kind of lost here.
Yeah, me too.
I don't watch Harry Potter. I don't watch Harry Potter.
The roided Wolverine. His best matches, obviously, almost all of his matches were the best matches. It's like he topped himself every single time with Kurt, with Jericho, with Eddie.
I think we mentioned his name before. Well, we just say the
Yeah,
last name. But no,
well,
I get what you mean.
So
But
you're
no,
a
yeah,
rabid
no.
fan then, huh?
Yeah, no, like I
the
under
wrestling
no.
the wrestling characters separate from the person that
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what for me, like I like to keep kayfabe alive. So that's why when it comes to like fantasy booking, obviously right now it's like let's break kayfabe. But when it comes to fantasy booking, like we would do, that's coming up later with you're gonna be excited for that one. Um, that's where it's like keep kayfabe alive. It's like this is how you book it. How would you book it, and not how obviously with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, it's already been done. How would you rechange it and all that stuff? But when it comes to dream matches that has never been done, that's where it's like let's keep kayfabe alive. How would you do it? How would you want to see it? If you were presenting this saying, "Hey, I need this match for this pay-per-view," how will you do it and all that? So I don't know, but that's just me. But when it comes to like breaking like contracts and people like, oh, because that's why I hate Total Divas because I wish Vince never went that direction of we're gonna be more realistic, more reality. Because obviously they did it because of Jersey
for,
Shore.
for somebody who punished Triple H for the curtain call, and then to expose the business that much.
Yeah,
Oh, he exposed it because he said like all the sports commissions like they had rules and regulations. So he had to go ahead and tell everybody like, "Hey, no, we're not sports. We're sports entertainment. There's a difference."
yeah,
So then every sports commission got off his back because like we're not a sport. We're not a everything state. Scripted. Obviously,
scripted.
people get hurt and die. I mean, we talked about Masawa. People do get hurt and die, but like it's the outcome, or people know the outcome, but like that's what Vince did like in the 80s or was that 90s, where he told those sports commissions like, no, we're sports entertainment. We're not sports.
Yeah, and
We
then
should
even in football they get hurt.
Oh yeah.
makes you wonder if that's why he never pushed Dan Severn like he should have, because he was the most legit out of all the professional wrestlers before Kurt Angle. He was the most legit dude.
Mm,
Like he was probably the one that if he had stayed long enough, maybe he would have been the only one that could have at that time made Brock Lesnar look like shit.
yeah. And then that's why what's it called? Shawn Michaels was threatened by Ken Shamrock. Kept saying like he was a bad worker and all that stuff, but it was like, I mean, the guy's still kind of green, but the crowd loves him and he's actually doing pretty well. I feel like they could have given him that a better push. Not saying he should have been world champion. Would have made sense, of course, but realistic was I feel like Shenrock was given the right opportunity that he was given at that time. I just feel like Shawn Michaels should have just taken him more serious. Should have been like, I can make money with this guy instead of just being like, this guy's a joke. I shouldn't be working with him. Oh,
Two guys
Yeah.
that probably would have been real badasses in real life that had to be pretending to that they weren't. Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman,
Yeah.
legit fighters.
yeah. Oh my gosh, Steve Blackman. I can't believe how bad they treated him.
That was my favorite hardcore champion, man. That was the reason why I loved the hardcore scene, because I started watching it around the time he came around.
You know what's crazy? My dream match was Steve Blackman is him against Tommy, the Green Power Ranger.
Oh,
That was
I thought you were gonna say Tommy Dreamer. Yeah, that would have been fun too.
that's a dream match too, but no, it was Tommy because they were both karates. So,
Oh.
but all right, Albert, it's time for a double down.
Yeah, ever here. I want to take this time to remind everyone to please like and subscribe for Spotify and Apple. Hit that 5-star Frog Smash review. You're listening to New Entry Wrestling Podcast. Now let's get back to this episode.
All right, it is time for fantasy booking ever. Who do you have for us today?
On November 13, 2005, the wrestling world lost someone who entertained us for many years and still had many years left. Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero, on the date of his death, had a triple threat match between himself, Batista, and Randy Orton. Was supposed to take place to air the following episode of SmackDown for the World Heavyweight Championship, in which Guerrero would have been booked to win the title, which would have been a dream match of a dream match. Eddie Guerrero will be your world champion and will be in the main event at WrestleMania 22, who he would have been facing none other than the showstopper, Mr.
Let's
WrestleMania
go.
himself, the Heartbreak Kid,
Yes.
Shawn Michaels. What are your thoughts? Would you want to see this?
Hell
And how would
yeah.
you book the outcome?
Hell yeah, I want to see that. I definitely want to see that. I wish we could have seen that match. And we're about to find out how Andre the Savage will book that match. Let's go.
Yep.
All right, Andre, go ahead.
So we know right off the bat that this was so that Batista could take time off because he was dealing with a lot of injuries, back injuries, tricep problems. Before he tore them, he had to get them taken care of.
Right.
But Eddie's death caused him to wrestle injured. As a result, Dave Batista tore his, I don't know if it was his biceps or his triceps, but he tore them and had to relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship on SmackDown, where Kurt Angle won the title.
Mhm.
That would mean that somebody else would have joined Team SmackDown in place of Eddie. And that ended up going to, I think,
Randy Orton.
So Randy Orton and Taker had to put their rivalry on pause so that they can have their match at Armageddon. Because I think originally was like, oh, it's how many years since Undertaker debuted at Survivor Series. You know, something about the anniversary that would have ended the rivalry then instead of Armageddon. So Eddie dying changed everything, even the plans for WrestleMania 22, which would have been Batista versus Randy.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping Eddie alive continues all those plans. So you have Eddie joining Team SmackDown as the world champion, as the captain, and HBK as the captain of Team Raw still. So Eddie, Ray, Bobby Lashley. Who else was on that team?
Batista. Batista.
So obviously you can't count Batista because of
Injury. Yeah. But Batista was the other guy in the group.
So I think you still could have pulled off that injury angle that Kane and Big Show choke slammed him through the roof of that car.
Yeah.
So that would have sidelined Batista and forced you to put Randy Orton in the match. Mm-hmm. Randy Orton and HBK have their own rivalry going on, and Eddie is still trying to convince Randy, I'm the captain.
Right.
I'm the world. If you remember, I pinned you to become the world champion. So I'm the leader. So while there's tension going on the SmackDown team, HBK is taking advantage of that, who has his own rivalry built up already with Vince. That doesn't start until after Survivor Series, but he starts planting the seeds when he talks about Bret Hart and all that.
Right. Yeah.
That segment they had on Raw. So then you have a backstage segment between Eddie and Vince. Vince congratulating Eddie on being the world heavyweight champion again, kind of like how he congratulated him behind the scenes at not WrestleMania, No Way Out.
Right.
So they have that real life on screen instead of behind the scenes hug. Congratulating him, being proud of him, being the world champion, being a 2-time Mexican world champion. And he says, you know, I have a problem with Shawn.
All right.
And, you know, I know you used to, you know, be real famous with the ladies, right? The mamacitas, right? I need you to convince Shawn to come back to the old Shawn Michaels. It's like, it worked real well. And then suddenly decides to be this righteous man, this man of God. And that pisses off Eddie because in real life, so is he.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know, Vince, I see what you're trying to do. I say, you know, I have my own battles with addiction. that's why I turned to God too. And then Vince is like, well, yeah, but this is different. Shawn explaining that what he did in the past was different. You redeemed yourself. That's why you got hired back.
I like that.
So he kind of uses their own spiritual walk as something to put them against each other.
Right.
And then
because that was the original feud.
And then you still have them going like, you know what, I know what Vince is trying to do, but you and I have our own darkness, and that's why we turn to him. But of course, they can't say God. They can't say because of the FCC. They can't.
Right.
You have the networks, and then you also have Vince, who doesn't like talking about God. So they have to be.
Unless you say
discreet.
like in a
They have to be discreet about it. The way how
Yeah.
they talk about faith.
Unless you say like how Vince says it, all
Right.
aggressive and all that.
So in the meantime, they're trying to be civil, but they're like, oh, just remember, they say, I lie, I cheat, and I steal, and he still forgives me. So now you got them doing that against each other, right? And Vince gets involved in the Survivor Series match. This is how you start the build even more.
Ooh.
Eddie considers doing what he did to Kurt, untying his shoelace, trying to steal the win. It's them two at the end. It's not Randy and Shawn. It's Eddie and Shawn. After Randy Orton gets pinned by Shawn Michaels, Shawn Michaels finally gets his pin back on Randy from 2003, and he RKO's HBK on the way out and Eddie, because Eddie threw that "I beat you for the world title" thing at him.
Ooh.
So he leaves it open for whichever team to win. Of course, you got Bischoff and both Bischoff and Teddy at ringside, and out comes Vince. You hear the "No Chance in Hell" theme. And he comes strutting down to the ring, just as pissed off as he was at Royal Rumble 2006 when Shawn eliminated the guys that were promising to eliminate him.
Oh, okay.
So he starts strutting down to the ring, angry, and he offers Eddie the chair, and Eddie thinks about it, but then he's like, "No." He throws the chair out.
Damn. Okay.
And as he throws the chair out, the ref sees him. Like, the ref doesn't know that they're both knocked out, because at some point after Randy Orton gets kicked out for the win or the elimination, I don't know, and it's Little H, so maybe he gets knocked out somehow. But he sees the chair that Eddie just threw out, and he's like, "Did you just hit Shawn with the chair?" And it's Eddie, like, "No, I know you had no." I said, "No."
He does his old Eddie.
Shawn takes advantage and rolls up Eddie. Eddie reverses it, goes for the Three Amigos, goes for the frog splash. Shawn moves out of the way, does the sweet chin music, and he goes for the pin, and Vince gets on the apron, distracting the ref. Eddie goes for a roll up, and then HBK, and he tries to pull it tight. HBK reverses on him and uses the ropes for leverage. Ref doesn't see it. Raw wins, not SmackDown.
Ooh. Who was it? SmackDown wins, right? So this one Raw wins.
At this point, Raw wins.
Okay.
And Eddie thinks,
and we're just at Survivor Series. We haven't even got to WrestleMania yet.
Eddie thinks that Shawn and Vince conspired against him. So it starts the little rivalry. He says, "Ese, that was a good one." Then challenges them to Armageddon. But Shawn refuses, says, "No, that's a SmackDown show."
Okay.
So then that's when Randy comes out and says, "We only lost because of you. Had I won," and they starts a little rivalry with Randy. And Vince says, "Well, Eddie, it seems you have an issue with Shawn. You have an issue with Randy. You have an issue with me. So let's make this a special guest referee match. You versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship."
Okay.
With Shawn Michaels as a referee.
Interesting.
Shawn calls a match down the middle, just like he did at SummerSlam. Eddie wins, but at some point, Shawn hesitates to pin. You got the rivalry going to the point where he's hesitating to pin the same way he hesitated for that 3 count at SummerSlam.
Mhm.
And Eddie realizes it. He sees that, and he calls him out. Sets up a match between him and Shawn at the Royal Rumble, but Randy's still involved
Okay.
because he knows that he could have actually won at some point. And you let Dave Bautista win the Rumble because all that time he took off, he's able to heal. He's
Mhm.
able to have enough energy to go to WrestleMania. Whether or not he wins a title or strips himself, or makes at least makes it to WrestleMania. You get the match you should have gotten that you originally planned. So
Yeah.
you don't have to have Kurt. I mean, as much as I wanted to see Kurt be in the main event, he already had that moment before. He didn't really need it unless he was going to win the main event title.
Yeah. He didn't need another title defense. He needed to actually win a title at WrestleMania.
So it gives you the opportunity to have a better rivalry for Kurt at WrestleMania. Randy Orton wins after pitting Eddie, and now the focus is between Shawn and Eddie.
Okay.
Um, Vince got in the ear and maybe make him the referee, which then later builds up Shawn versus Vince at a later time.
I agree with that. I feel like it
Eddie,
was a great match, but
Eddie
didn't need
gets
to be.
let Eddie get the win. He
Yeah.
had those tainted victories through Shawn. He has the title loss at the Rumble. Let him get the win. You don't have to have the world title in the match anymore. It was just a focus of taking something away from Eddie so that the rivalry even more. And you still get to have the Batista versus Randy at WrestleMania 22, which probably would have been better hyped then than it was at WrestleMania 30.
Yeah,
Because at that time, Batista was hot. Randy
I
Orton was
agree.
the biggest heel on SmackDown. Yeah, that leaves Kurt off, but then maybe they can have Kurt versus Bradshaw instead of Bradshaw versus Benoit, which I think would have been a better rivalry too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Or Kurt
Instead of,
Angle and Bobby Lashley.
or even instead of Kurt Angle versus Mark Henry at the Rumble, Kurt Angle versus Mark Henry at WrestleMania, or
Oh yeah.
Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Mhm. Yeah. That's gonna be a different episode for WrestleMania
But
22.
it opened up more opportunities for Kurt if he didn't have a lot of good main event style opportunities if he doesn't get the title at WrestleMania.
Right. So Eddie drops the title at the Royal Rumble. The feud continues. So WrestleMania 22 for your fantasy booking is Eddie Guerrero versus Shawn Michaels, and somewhat similar
All,
to The Undertaker and
all,
Shawn
all the
Michaels.
shoots are going to come out. Everything about their
Yeah.
past, all about their addictions, all about their faith. That's all going to be laid out.
Yeah.
That's
Because
all.
that was the original story for it.
Mhm.
So I like that. I like that because you have that world title and it gives that because it gives us that something similar to the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels because we thought it was going to be for the world heavyweight title this time for WrestleMania 26, but then Shawn Michaels caused
And in
Taker the
that moment,
title.
I don't think Shane would be a heel in that situation because
Mm,
Shane, from a personal standpoint, from behind the scenes, is friends with these two dudes. And the
yeah.
fact that Vince is trying to bring up some sinfully, dastardly, demon-like thing between these two guys in the rivalry is why Shane wouldn't be involved in the sense like the way he was with Shawn versus Vince.
Mm.
So maybe Vince, while being the referee, he's like trying to get his dad to call the match down the line, so we don't have to have a referee run in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So kind of like trying to have more his dad be like, I don't think like I don't like what you're doing. I think you should back off, or I know what you're doing,
Yep.
kind of thing. But Vince is playing that. I don't know what you're talking about, son.
Mhm.
I'm just
Wow.
trying to book this great main event.
Right.
So I like that. For me, somewhat similar to yours. Um, for me, I would have the world title. Uh, the only thing is, I would add Kurt Angle into the mix if able to. If I'm able to add Kurt Angle to that mix, you know why I would do it? Just to piss the fans off.
Ooh, and I
Wow.
didn't think about this too.
To piss off the fans, because imagine that.
Kurt's two best WrestleMania matches. Two of his three best WrestleMania matches are with those guys.
You beat me
Actually,
to it.
I'm sorry, two of his four. His best four are obviously Benoit. Ah shit.
Yeah.
his name, Lesnar, Shawn, and Eddie. Those were his best matches probably in his career.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So add Shawn Michaels into that mix. You have a hell of a triple threat match. And also it's just to piss off the fans because they'd be like, bro, what are you doing? Why are you adding Kurt Angle to the mix? You know? So
Mhm.
I mean, obviously it's gonna be a hell of a match. I don't know. Maybe people would be like, "Damn, I'm glad this is happening," or maybe people would get pissed off. Uh, for the world heavyweight title, if it's gonna involve the world heavyweight title, Shawn Michaels wins the Royal Rumble. I would have Eddie Guerrero win the world title if it was going based on the triple threat. So have him have the continue his feud with Randy Orton. Just that's it. Just have his feud with Randy Orton leading up to WrestleMania. Um, and then Shawn Michaels versus Eddie Guerrero WrestleMania, and I will have Eddie Guerrero win as well. I will have him retain the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, Andre, I mean, fortunately, because you're not gonna have the World Heavyweight title for your fantasy booking, but if you had to have the World Heavyweight title, there's no way around it. Is it closing the WrestleMania? Mine isn't.
As
Even
much
if
as I want, as much
mine
as I want,
isn't.
I mean, as much as I want Eddie to have that main event moment, I don't think because I think he would be overshadowed by John Cena, who they were trying to put in the main event, and
Mhm.
it's Triple H. Remember that was going to still happen regardless. I think that was in the books from the beginning, from the moment that Triple H attacked Ric Flair, and he had that everybody giving him that dirty ass look as he walked backstage,
Right.
and then he had that run in with Cena. From that point on, I realized that that was going to be the main event of WrestleMania.
And it
So
should. It should. It needed to be.
Cena is the top guy of the brand. That's the reason why I don't think Eddie was ever going to close the show.
Yeah. No, for me, he was never going. Even if it was booked my way, it'd be like, oh no, he's not gonna main event WrestleMania. Like you said, I feel like he does deserve that moment, but that moment was he should have won the Royal Rumble and then faced Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That should have been his moment, but instead, I think he wanted. He did want a Royal Rumble. He
He
won a
always got
Royal
he always got overshadowed by a better story. He had Ben
because he wasn't a superstar.
WrestleMania 20 was a better story because of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman made that third person worse, their life worse. He made that obstacle and climb to the Rumble. The win for the Rumble, he made that climb to the World Championship even better by the way he kept keeping them down. From all
Mhm.
those segments on SmackDown with Brock, all those segments with Kurt on for the World Championship on SmackDown, that made that triple threat more meaningful than the Kurt versus Eddie match. So that's why WrestleMania 20 was not going to be Eddie's time to shine. Same thing with WrestleMania 21. That Eddie versus Ray would never close, even if it was for the World Championship, because JBL versus Cena was going to be bigger because you were going to have finally somebody take a title away from JBL. You were going to
Yeah.
finally have somebody dethrone Triple H. Those two stories, because of evolution, were always going to be bigger than Eddie versus Ray. Same thing, WrestleMania 22. No matter how big of a name that HBK is, John Cena's name was bigger. So was
Yeah.
Triple H's pull. So that was always going to close WrestleMania. Um, unless he was to face Taker, that would have been his only shot to have maybe main evented
Okay. Yeah.
WrestleMania. And it's not because of Eddie's name is not big enough name. It's a big household name, but his name got bigger when he died.
Yeah.
That's the sad truth of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's facts. Because Eddie Guerrero was more of a wrestler and all that. He was a household name, but when it came to arenas and stuff like that, Eddie draws live events, Cena draws arenas and all that stuff.
And Eddie's title reign was also tainted by everything that happened after Brock left. Brock left, so guess what? We're gonna put the title on Eddie.
Mm.
No, Brock wants to leave. Okay, we're gonna put the title on Eddie. Uh, Brock left. Okay, who do we have for Eddie to face besides everybody in a SmackDown tournament on one show? And then JBL, because
Yeah,
Cena's too green right now to face the champion.
but at least they built them
And,
up.
and, and Kurt Angle's injured for a rematch.
Right. And then Kurt Angle and JBL is a draw, but just not yet. It was you got to build up JBL. All right, well, I want to take this time to let everyone know IAN is who I am. Like and subscribe on YouTube.
Yep.
If you're listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, hit that follow button. You're listening to
Follow.
New Entry Wrestling Podcast. Now let's get back to this episode. It's time for the 3-minute steel cage match. And don't worry, this is 3-on-3. Bray Wyatt and Eddie Guerrero are going to be joining you in battle. Remember, Freak Show, you're locked inside for 3 minutes and you ain't going nowhere. Who are you going to go against with? The Shield, the Wyatt Six, or DX, the team of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Hornswoggle?
There you go, DX.
DX right there. So you're gonna face your tag team partner, Bray Wyatt, Eddie Guerrero. You're gonna go against Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Hornswoggle inside a steel cage in the main event.
See, because I'll be like, we got this, guys. But I line us up where it's Bray and H. I'm sorry, Bray and Hunter, Eddie and HBK, and I'm facing Hornswoggle. And I say, I got this, right?
I
Because,
got
because
this.
because I know what's gonna happen. I go run after Hornswoggle and I turn into a sweet chin music. I get a pedigree.
The honest defeat. Oh man, that's great. I gotta go with DX. Obviously, I won't, honestly, I want to take that super kick into a pedigree and then have
Okay,
Hornswoggle hit you with that tadpole. What's it called? The frog
you're
splash?
because you're saying it's Bray Wyatt, right?
Bray Wyatt is your tag team partner.
Right. So all he has to do is stand in front of the Wyatt Six, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, we're gonna exit this cage right now. We're gonna turn around."
That's true. Or Bray Wyatt may join though. And he may go against you, and now it's you and Eddie Guerrero going against them. When was the other one? The Shield? Yeah, so Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. That would shit. I know you're not a wrestler, but hey, that would be fun, right? You wouldn't want to take a triple power bomb from them?
I would only be in that cage if it was the Wyatt family, the original Wyatt family, helping out against the Shield. Not no offense to
Mm.
Eddie, but by then,
Who would be the other two? I'm assuming Bray Wyatt is one of them. I'm guessing Luke Harper.
Braun.
Ooh, Braun. Nice
This
choice.
way, there's a fighting chance.
There's a fighting chance for both of them. That's smart. But DX, yeah, DX and Hornswoggle bad. I can't believe they actually had Hornswoggle join DX. Whose idea was that?
Hornswoggle joined DX. Boogeyman joined DX. Khali joined DX. John Cena joined DX.
Nah, everybody joined DX.
The
Would
only one who didn't join that would have been the most hilarious one if he did.
our truth? Who?
2000 Kurt Angle.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Kurt Angle. The year Kurt Angle. Who Kurt Angle was in 2000 joining DX. Yes. At that time, no. But if you take Kurt Angle 2000 into the 2009 era, join that DX. Yes, I totally agree with you. So even if you disagree with me, that's what I want to see. That version of Kurt Angle. Because that's the Kurt Angle. That Kurt Angle was great. That's the Kurt Angle that we got in TNA. I don't care what everybody says. That was the the Kurt Angle from 2000 to 2003. That was all TNA right there. That's who we got. Man, great time. But before we leave, NWO or DX, who you joining?
DX.
Wish build your own DX group. You're
Nice.
part of it. You're part of it. These are the guys you're actually hanging out with. You're getting drinks with. You're not wrestling. You're getting drinks with. You're partying with them.
Oh, if it's partying, then yeah. 1996, 1997, Shawn. Playboy China.
Wait, China.
Playboy China, to top it off. 2000, New Age Outlaws.
Okay.
Post-Mania, Sean Waltman.
This guy.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Ah, man. All right, we gotta go with, I would say,
Oh, I forgot Triple H. Damn, how did I forget the game?
you know what? I want to know Triple H's workout routine at 09. I don't know. I want to know his route or his workout routine. I hope,
Steroids. The one thing you wouldn't admit. Come on, man. There was no way he was that jacked in 2002 after the Rumble.
Hey, but no, regardless of the juice, you still have to work out.
Yeah, I know.
But that's all I said. I don't care about the juice. I just want to work. I want to know his workout routine. So I want to hang out with that Triple H that year.
You know when he stopped taking steroids? After he got married. That's why he started having that gut.
Yeah.
Because the steroids weren't cutting him like the way he was before. Because Stephanie wanted to have kids. In order for him to have kids, he had to lay off the juice for several years.
He clearly loved her. That was true love for Triple H, because that guy was out of shape. Out of shape. He was not. I mean, he was still in great shape looking back, but his body transformation.
It was showing that all those carbs that you need to maintain that muscle were not staying down on the belly. That's that. Whenever I'd go to Export or any of the gyms, that's what I was hearing from dudes that in order for them to stay as lean as they are, they had to take steroids, and they only stopped taking steroids when they were planning on having kids with their wives, because there's a better chance of them getting pregnant if they're not on the juice.
Yeah, and then obviously affects.
And then as soon as the kids were born, they went back on, but they had to go a small amount at a time on the testosterone, so that they wouldn't have those damaging long-term effects that people have.
Yeah, that's the issue when it comes to those stuff. It's the long-term effects. It's not people think it's the current. It's like, no, it's long-term.
So. And then the people overdo it by doubling up because they're I want to eat more, or I want to be able to have the endurance to run more, or I want to have the fatigue for it. Okay, you're going to have it, but now because you doubled up, now you're going to make it worse for yourself. You might either destroy the tissue that protects the muscle and the bone, injure yourself, and have that tissue destroyed, or you're going to start seeing the physical side effects that are going to be hard to take away, that you'll have to spend more money on other injections to get that controlled again.
Well, don't take steroids unless it's for health, good reasons, and all that, make you better and all that.
I say if your doctor says not to, don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you had to get it anyways. It's supposed to be provided by you. So, all right, well, Andre the Savage. Well, you're not a savage today. Andre, the IC champion today. Clearly won
Uso Continental Champion.
The Uso Continental Champion. That was another amazing episode. Andre the Savage. That fantasy booking with Eddie Guerrero and Shawn Michaels, bro. That guy was in the detail. That guy was in that guy was in the moment. He was in the zone. He was just like
right there.
I was like, bro, you were supposed to start at the Royal Rumble and you started at the Survivor Series. And then when he was telling, like, going into details of the matches, I was like, wait a minute, are we still at Survivor Series?
Yeah,
So that guy,
that was
man,
awesome.
that guy was great. Hey, I told you, man.
Oh yeah,
He's great at storytelling
come
because
back
I
anytime.
for sure. All right, well, I guess you got anything more to add to this, or is it time to go home?
Let's time to go home. Or thanks again to Andre for being our guest. We appreciate it. We'll definitely want to bring you back. Thank you so much, taking time out of your day and talking wrestling with us. But everyone else, please like and subscribe for Spotify and Apple. Hit that 5-star Frog Smash review. We appreciate it. You're listening to New Entry Wrestling Podcast. Until next time, we're your hosts. I'm Ever, and that's Ian. I'll see you
And,
soon.
and we are out.
Doo-doo-doo.